Hi, my name is Phil Whimer, and I am a Yellow Van Handyman franchise partner here in Appleton, Wisconsin. You've probably seen me in the video that I did a couple months ago with Jared. And if you're new to the franchise system, I'm hoping to get to meet all of you at some point someday, at least online or on Facebook or something. So it's great to be part of this business and great to be part of this family with you guys. So Jared had asked me to just basically put together sort of a top 10 list of things that I feel like I'm doing that are helping my business grow. To give you an idea of a little bit of a summary of my background in the business, in the Yellow Van business, I've been a franchise owner now for almost a year and a half, so going on about 16, 17 months. I started initially thinking that I would own the franchise and that somebody else would actually operate the van. I've since gone full-time in the van. I'm loving it. I kind of started at the end of summer and went into winter in my first couple months right after my launch, and I was thinking to myself, as things had slowed down, like, boy, this isn't going to work out, and probably had a lot of the same thoughts that some of you guys had as you're starting your franchise up, and just thinking, I wish I were busier, and just basically, I don't know about you, I was just having a lot of doubts as to whether or not this was for me and whether or not this was going to work. But basically, through a lot of going back and just reinstituting some of the things that I learned in my launch process, to be honest with you, a lot of prayer and trying some things that I felt like were innovative ways to tailor Yellow Van to my community. I feel like it's just been like night and day, and has really been able to propel me into something now that I'm busy every single day. Right now I'm booked out 6 weeks, so I'm coming to you right now on November 9th, and I've got jobs all the way until December 13th lined up. And again, I'm not the world's greatest handyman, I'm not the world's greatest carpenter or anything, but I feel like I do really take good care of my customers, and I've done some things that I feel like are working right now. So the whole purpose of this is just for me, Jared had asked me to put this together and share some of this stuff with you guys, in hopes that it can benefit all of our businesses, and truly I hope that it does. So really this is going to be kind of like a top 10 format. I'm just going to go down my list. I've just sort of written it down. I'll expand on them. If any of this stuff is stuff that you guys feel like is working for you, I would love to hear more about it. I'm looking for ideas myself on how I can improve my business. But in addition to that, if there are things that you would like me to break down more for you, I'd be happy to do that. And again, like I said, I don't consider myself an expert or anything special, but I do feel like I'm doing some things that are working. So hopefully this benefits you. So kind of number one, I'll start with number one. And my first couple are things that I learned at launch camp, and so that everybody knows this stuff. But I feel like of all of that big scope of things that we learned during the launch process, this has been one of the most profound, impactful activities that I'm doing, or even really it's more of just a state of mind, but the idea of being dollar productive. And as Chris and Verso put it when we were in our launch process, is that you really ought to try to be doing something that is dollar productive. In other words, doing something that will directly lead to increased business and dollars coming into your business 4 days a week, 6 hours a day. And maybe for some of you guys who are starting out new, that sounds like a lot. And how could I ever get that busy? I'm telling you right now, a year into it, year and a half into it, I'm thinking like, how do I even have that much time? I mean, I'm so busy right now. I don't even know if I could spare that time. But I am making new contacts. I am doing appointments, so that 24 hours is happening automatically now. It's going above and beyond weekly. So again, staying dollar productive, I feel like is sort of priority one. Getting in that frame of mind that even if you don't have scheduled appointments lined up, that you're doing something to be productive, that will directly lead to business. Number two, something again, a launch camp mantra, if you will, that whole model of professionalism: know what you don't know, know what you know, and know the difference. And I've kind of expanded on it just to say simply, knowing what I don't know has been a big deal, and taking that a step further into saying like what I know I won't do, such as I know I will not do electrical. Okay, I don't get into that. I know I will not get into major plumbing. There are certain things that I know that I don't know enough, even though some of those, when the dollar signs start showing up and you know that you could really make some money if you engage in this job. You might really, forget the fact that you don't know how to do plumbing, you don't know how to do electrical. That's how it is for me. So I've kind of decided I won't do electrical, I won't do roofing, and I don't do major plumbing. I might do little snippets of each of those things, but with regards to as a trade, I'm not getting into that. And for a lot of different reasons, mostly just because I'm not good at it. But I do know somebody who can do those things in an excellent way in each of those different categories that I can refer business to. Those people refer business back to me. So really, I've taken something I don't know, made it better through someone who's an expert, and then actually multiplied my efforts because that person is going to be someone who's going to be sewing back into my business. So that would be something I would suggest that's really helped me out. Okay, number 3. Again, building off a launch camp, but kind of taking a lot of the things that Jared and Chris coached us on in the beginning, and just realizing now I can come from a position of understanding and knowing that this is true, is basically just having the confidence in the fact that everyone, meaning every homeowner out there, needs you. There isn't a homeowner that I come across that doesn't say, oh my gosh, I've got this list, I've got a huge need for your services. It just doesn't happen. I've never come across anyone that says, yeah, my house is exactly how I want it, I don't want to change anything. The fact of the matter is that if you own a home, there are things that you want to do. And it took me a while to realize that nobody is excluded from that. So, again, I guess I'm speaking more to the guys who are just starting out. And, I know for me, I was thinking like that. I'm in a smaller town. There's no way I can get enough business to sustain my costs and everything like that, my overhead. And I defeated myself. I took myself out of the game early, but I've since realized that there's business all around me. And truthfully, if I really open my eyes to what's going on, there could easily be, in my town of 120,000 people here, there could easily be 10 yellow vans running around and staying busy all the time. Okay, so that takes me to number 4, which is, I just kind of termed it staying relevant. And that's just as simple. I mean, it kind of goes along with the dollar productive activity stuff, but it's really, the whole thing is staying in front of people and keeping up with what your members and your community are involved in right now. Great example being, we just recently, about 3-4 weeks ago, had some major hailstorms come through our area. I worked really quickly to try and align myself with people who were doing hailstorm repair. And in addition, just tried to make it a service of mine to my members that, I don't necessarily need to profit from any hail damage you have, but I do want to make sure that if you have questions and you want someone to walk you through the insurance adjustment and claims process, like, I would be happy to do that. So I actually kind of got in and looked at some American Family Insurance claims processes and see exactly how they work, so how a client can get their maximum value out of their insurance claim. And I've actually coached like 4 or 5 of my members through that process, and here they were, number 1, they didn't even know their house was damaged by hail. Number 2, they didn't know that they could actually get a new roof or get their whole siding, the house's entire siding replaced. So that was a huge value added thing. And again, it didn't always directly equate to me making more money or me being more profitable, but I guarantee you that mind share in my customers' head, that I rose in the rankings of, when something happens to my house or something happens to my family, like, Phil's going to be the first guy I call. So just trying to feel like keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on in your community as it pertains to people's homes, as it pertains to people's attitudes, the climate, the weather, all those sorts of things is good to do. With that, I try to keep people aware of what I'm doing through social networking, through Facebook. If any of you guys are my Facebook friends, you see that I pretty regularly like to post pictures of what I'm doing, maybe befores and afters. And I know there are a number of other yellow van guys like Roger and Burien who are doing that really well too. So I don't think anybody would argue the fact that works, but you have to stay relevant. You have to stay in front of people. Probably even to the point where you think, am I annoying people? Am I informing them too much of what I'm doing? And I think when you can ask yourself that, you probably are doing about the right amount. So anyway, that's that. Number 5. Again, this is a a basic from launch camp, but I feel like I've done and experienced a ton of business from it, a ton of success, and that's getting involved in a networking group, specifically in my area, BNI, which stands for Business Networking International, so BNI. You can go to bni.com, it will unpack the whole thing for you. Having been involved in a number of other networking organizations, I can tell you that BNI for your dollar is the best possible networking solution. I say that because of their track record, because of their exposure. I mean, you can't find a city in the country that doesn't have a BNI chapter around. The kind of prolific production that they have, and that I mean, they're regularly on an annual basis passing billions of dollars among professionals. You know, you basically sit down with 20 business people, none of whom are your competition. You will be the only handyman in your chapter, and say, hey, look, here's my ideal customer, who do you know? And they're going to tell you, hey, here's my ideal customer, who do you know? And being a connected handyman in your community, you should know tons of people, so you should just be able to be passing them information, whether it's your members or your family or just people who you know from church or whatever. It's a win-win for everybody. The initial cash outlay is like $300, $400. I made that back 2 times over in my first 2 weeks of joining BNI. The structure is great. It's set up for success. It's really all you got to do is, it's just like home task. You follow the system and you'll be successful. So definitely join a BNI group. I've actually joined one that has some people who are in the trades in it. I've got a roofer in my group. I've got a guy who sells specialized seamless gutters. I've got some guy who does home networking. I also have a realtor, a home mortgage agent, and a home insurance guy. Those guys, obviously, you can, as you can probably think, pass me a ton of business because they're regularly coming across people who need to increase the value of their home or prepare it for a sale or recover after like I said, a hail damage loss or something like that after the adjusters come out. So align yourself with people who are specializing in taking care of people's homes through BNI. Number 6, and again, this is not something that, again, I'm coming as humbly as possible here. Number 6, I just call fix your mistakes. And just like any professional, like any contractor who's working out there, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to screw things up. Even if you are, in a position where you are doing something you're good at, you're not going to meet someone's expectations in some way. I have found that more times than not, however, that if you can take a complaint somebody has or something that they want you to come fix and just really knock it out of the park, they will actually be more impressed with that than had you just done it right the first time in some instances. Great example being today, even before I sat down to do this video. Had a customer call me on Friday after I'd done this job on Friday, some basic trim carpentry, and they said they just noticed there was a gap around the edge that I had not filled properly. I had not filled it. I mean, I didn't do a great job on it. And thinking back to it, I said, yeah, okay, you're right. I should have done that, and I apologized. And I said I'd be back today to fix it. So I got there, and they left the house open for me to go fix it, and I took it all apart. I redid it, and basically it ended up costing me. I mean, actually it was a long distance for me to get up there. It ended up costing me enough money to where I pretty much cut in half the profit that I was going to make having to go back and fix this problem, which that's no good. But I also took an extra step, and I bought him a $100 gas card, just saying, hey, I appreciate your patience. I appreciate the amount of business that you guys have given me, and I appreciate the fact that you trust me enough to come into your house when you're not here. Basically real simple. And I took something that was a complaint, and actually it was a pretty passionate complaint. They were really not happy with the way the trim turned out. And they were so happy with the gift card. They were so happy with the quick response. They're so happy with that care that they got. I have no doubt they're going to call me again. So again, try and take a positive, spin it negative, or try and take a negative and spin it positive, and really show that you are able to recover when a complaint happens and take care of somebody. Number 7, and this is something I am just so excited about right now because I feel like I've finally gotten to the point in my business where I can pick and choose who my perfect member is. When I first started out, I would take any job that came my way. I was just so excited to get an appointment and get a new member. I would do anything. Like I said, I was doing things I didn't really have any business doing. I was doing things for less money than I probably should have been charging. Like I said, just kind of grabbing at whatever I could get. I'm at the point now where I'm politely turning people down when I know they're not a good fit for Home Task, or they're not a good fit for me and my business personally. I'm always making the effort to refer them to someone who might be a better fit for them. I'm in touch with a couple of handymen in the area that I know work for about half of the price that I do, but they're not insured, and they don't have branded material, and they're good guys, but they're the kind of the chuck in the truck kind of guys. But whatever, I know who my customer is. I know that their first priority is not to try and cut corners or save a buck. There are people who care enough about their house and care enough about the security that they feel with the people who come into their house that they're willing to pay a premium price to get that service and to get that product. And I look at my core 10, and that's who they all are. I'm at the point, I think right now I have like 13 or 14 core 10 members, and I can say that truly about all of them, is that price is not their number one decision maker. It is the relationship that they have with the person coming into their house. So, I see myself as a relationship builder first, a handyman second, and just knowing that the people who are into that are my right customers. Again, I've gone from the point where you look at me even 12 months ago just thinking, I can't believe I got myself into this. This is too hard. I can't do it. To now, I actually know that there are jobs I'm turning away. And again, doing so politely and professionally and trying to refer them out with a really great fit. And even to the point where maybe they'll even thank you down the line for turning them on to so-and-so or whatever. But just knowing that, maybe even the fact that you're not working in their house doesn't mean they can't still be a great source of referrals for you someday. But that at the end of the day, if you choose to take that job, you're probably going to be spending more time than is necessary, or not making enough money when there are more profitable jobs out there to be taken care of. So hopefully that makes sense. If, like I said, if that's fuzzy, whatever, email me and I'll see what I can do to kind of clear that up. Number 8, something that I think is kind of a no-brainer, but it's something that I've actually kind of made this a point to do better at recently. I know that as I've started to get flooded with more and more appointments, certain things I've sort of started to let go, and not in a good way. Some that I still need to pick up on, but this is important, and when I've done it well, I can see the result being very, very positive for my business, and that's just kind of keep house. And the two main things being keep your van clean and keep your books updated. And again, I got to tell you that these are things that I've struggled with. These are things that I've had little pockets of doing real well, but as a whole, I've struggled with, and I'm trying to do better. Keeping that van clean is huge. I've had back before I was busy, I used to keep it clean every day. I had some people comment, man, like, that is a smoking hot vehicle you're driving in. I always see it around town. Well, right now it's really dirty and messy. It's messy on the inside, it's messy on the outside, and I just look like every other contractor driving around out there, and it's sort of embarrassing. The same kind of goes for my books. I've finally broken down. I got to the point where I'm meeting with an accountant who's coming to my house and trying to help me get things in line, and their advice to me is, dude, you just have to do it. You have to do the entry. You have to make time to sit down and enter these receipts and invoices into QuickBooks. You will thank yourself for it. It'll be so much easier to see what you're doing that is profitable and what is not. And when it comes time to do things like pay taxes and pay payroll and things like that, if you've got people helping you, or pay your subcontractors, it's not going to be this shuffling through receipts and trying to figure things out last minute and just being a mess. But it's gonna be more orderly, and it's gonna make your life easier. I think about the whole point of Home Task, and the whole reason I got into this was to have more time available for my family and to be less tied to a schedule that I didn't like and I couldn't get into. And I think if I go to these great lengths to buy this business and to take good care of my customers, but I don't keep my books in line and I don't keep my van clean, I'm just stealing time away from my family, and I'm working against that dream of allowing freedom and allowing peace of mind, not only just for my members, but for myself and for my family. So definitely keeping the van clean, keeping the books updated is top priority, or one of. Number 9. Let's see, where's number 9? Okay, number 9, this is something I've started doing recently, and I've sort of had the benefit of like, okay, well now I'm busy enough, I can start to kind of think in these terms. And really, I'll even kind of share this. This is, again, a praise for Home Task and a praise for this franchise system. But my family, we are actually at the point now where we are planning on my wife no longer working after this. She's a teacher, and after this school year's over, we are planning on her being done working and just staying home with our daughter, and we've got another one on the way coming in March. So for us, it's been a huge value always for her to be a mom first, and not just be focused on her career and her job and that, but to take the time and be a mom. That for our family, that was always a value, and this job has enabled me to do so. So with that comes sort of this, I guess the way I termed it here on my top 10 list was bottom line thinking. I know that I need to make X amount of dollars to cover my household costs on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And not just cover my costs, but being able to put enough in savings and being able to put enough away to do the things that we want to do beyond just week to week working. So I guess to expand on that, how does that apply to everyday Yellow Van Handyman operations? I've kind of started to think in my schedule in sort of a pared down way, in that I try to schedule 2 appointments per day. And I know that with our high intensity 2-hour appointment, we should probably be able to get like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know like how much you're available or how crazy fast you work. But you'd think, okay, well, man, if I do 3 or 4 or 5 a day, I'll just be banking it. And what I've found is that actually, if I break things into half-day segments, and the Yellow Van Handyman here in Wisconsin with me, Jeff Prelwitz, actually turned me onto this idea too, is that you don't schedule 3 or 4 appointments in a day thinking you're just gonna bang, 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 knock them out. At least I'm not at that point yet. But the way I'm looking at it is that I break things into half-day segments. I do a morning job and an afternoon job. Sometimes there will be something easy like cleaning gutters, and there's a couple little odds and ends to do with that, and I might pack that in the middle of the day. And like I said, maybe a week or 2 will go by, and I've got a few days that I do 3 appointments, but typically I try to keep it to 2 per day. Or if it's a big one, I just block off the whole day. So if I know it's going to be more than half a day, I block off the whole day. And what that allows me to do is just have the flexibility on both sides before and after the job to, if it takes longer than I think, which it always does, I have that opportunity to build it in. If there are other things that the member wants done and I have the opportunity to get a little bit more profit out of that visit, I'm not tied down by the fact I got to race over town and get to this before I've got my next thing going on. And it just loosens things up, and it has loosened me up, personally, so that I have no problem sitting and having a conversation with the member after we've signed the invoice and I'm on the way out the door, just talk about what's going on with their family, whatever. It's great. So, maybe that's not the exact segmentation that you're looking for in your business, but it's worked really well for me. So basically, having broken it out into half-day segments, I've still been able to keep with that 2 hours, and I still charge the same amount hourly. But what I've been able to do is say, all right, so that really, I know how much I need to make. What's my bottom line? How many dollars do I need to be netting per half-day appointment or per full-day appointment? And that kind of goes back to that number 7, and that if I know that a job can't meet that certain sweet spot dollar-wise, I have an easier time turning it down because I'm busy enough now that those jobs will come, the ones that are where I want to be. So again, kind of taking stock maybe after you've been in business for a year and say, where do I need to be? If I break that down into half-day segments, what does that look like, and how many? If I divide that by, if I know I've got 4 days a week scheduled and I've got 4 or 8 half-day segments. Okay, so I divide my weekly needs by 8, and there you go. So kind of that bottom line mindset has sort of helped me really figure out what the best type of jobs are. Okay, so I guess that is 9. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to add with that, I just made myself a little note here. Really, and the question is, what can you give away? I know that if you look at the way our pricing structure stacks up to other handymen or other contractors, you know, especially for you guys who have just gone through launch camp, you probably think like, man, that we're already charging a lot, and I think it's good that we do, because there's a perceived value and an actual, I mean, there's true value to what we do, probably at or beyond what the dollars that we're charging. However, I think that even the folks who are not price motivated, they just want to develop the relationship, I still think there are ways to enter onto their radar or whatever by giving certain things away. And I know that's not, you know, that's not part of the core culture of home tasking, just giving away your services. But there have been a number of things for me that I know I can afford to either charge less or give away for free. So that is kind of a segue into my last point, number 10, which is about window cleaning. And the guys, I've talked to a couple of guys about this. You know, Corey, who just started here in Wisconsin, you know, definitely the guys back at the support center. But I think that window cleaning is just such a huge opportunity for us as handymen to really blow up our own personal business, and really to set ourselves apart for even guys who are operating other handyman franchises like the Mr. Handyman or the Case Handyman or whatever. Window cleaning is just is sort of this really cool hybrid that will enable you to take your business to the next level. So let me kind of unpack that a little bit, saying that I sort of happened upon this opportunity to clean windows early part of this summer, and basically I just thought, well, I'm gonna kind of stir the pot a little bit, and I'm gonna give people the opportunity to see what I can do by offering window cleaning basically at half the price or less of what any of the professional window cleaners here in the area would do it for. And just to give you an idea, that generally works out to about $7 for every pane of glass in your house. That's what a professional would charge. So I was charging like $2.50 to clean a pane of glass. And so, you know, the average house, there's like 50 panes of glass or whatever. So, you know, you can do the math and figure out, you know, it's going to take you a lot of time. You're not going to make a lot of money doing this. Okay, so a couple of things that I found out after doing window cleaning. Number one, it's really easy. It's really easy to do. It's really easy to do quickly as you learn about it. Number two, the tools and equipment required to do window cleaning, even as a professional, you can buy everything that you need to clean someone's windows professionally for under $100. And the only thing that you have to keep buying is some kind of soap, and you have to keep buying, you know, fresh squeegee blades and things like that. But it's extremely low overhead to do that component of our business. The end product is so beautiful, and it actually complements the house as a whole, and it complements the other things that you're fixing on the house. I had a customer who wanted me to come put new vinyl shutters on their house. I said, hey, you know, would you like me to go ahead and clean the windows while I'm out here? Let's just dress this whole thing up. You can get a fresh start on your exterior. And they said, yeah, I'd never had my windows cleaned. And so I did that. I mean, if you do it right, they just sparkle. I can't really explain it, but they're gorgeous when they're done, and it's so easy to do. So again, those are a couple of things I learned, but perhaps the most important thing, and this is of all my top 10, the thing that I'm so excited to share, is that window cleaning specifically is something that is you know, if you look at all the activities that we do, marketing, you kind of have to cast a really wide net. So you're probably casting your net to a number of individuals who maybe aren't our best customer, and you might be casting the net to people who don't even own a home or whatever, but you're doing such broad reaching advertising activities or development activities that you're just trying to get out there. What I found about window cleaning, it is like this perfect pinpoint. It's like an advertising sniper just picking off a perfect customer for a yellow van handyman. And I mean that to say that the people who will pay money to have their windows professionally cleaned are 9 times out of 10 meet all of those qualifications of pride of ownership, have a home over X amount of dollars, have an income over X amount of dollars. They want a good looking house, and they don't want to do this kind of stuff themselves, and they're willing to pay a premium price to obtain that beautiful looking house. So it's the best of both worlds because it takes almost nothing to get it, but it's so extremely relevant to our business. It's the whole idea of that low hanging fruit. So in my opinion, any person who's operating a Yellow Van Handyman franchise would really be missing out if they did not add window cleaning as a component of their business. And I'm actually, this is a long promised video, so hopefully you're not getting sick of seeing me, because I have also promised to do kind of an instructional how-to video on how I'm doing windows, specifically from how I'm working the squeegee across the glass to how I'm marketing it and things like that. So I kind of figured out that windows are something I can afford to give away, because if you do it right the first time, they will call you back again in the spring and the summer. I mean, you can conceivably wash someone's windows like 3 or 4 times a year. And just to give you an idea, a decent, like an average size house with 20 windows or something, meaning about 40 panes of glass, if you price it right, and I price extra for a second story, and I price a little extra if they want me to hose off the screens and clean the tracks and clean off the sill, and really you can do all those things, and it really only adds about 2 minutes per window to what you're already doing by just doing the soap and water cleaning. But you can make probably, like, again, in this area, I can make like $350 in a single cleaning for someone's windows. So, and on top of that, I have not had a window cleaning appointment yet where the person has not either scheduled an appointment for me to come back and do some of the more typical handyman stuff, but the issue always comes up. Well, your truck says handyman, your shirt says handyman. What else do you do? And so here I am in their home cleaning their windows, and they're kind of following me around, admiring the work. And we have this whole big conversation about what my business is all about, what I'm all about, how I care about their house, how I take pride in the way that the final product looks, and all that kind of stuff. So again, I think window cleaning is something we all need to think about adding. Do a cost analysis or whatever you need to do, but I mean it's impossible to think that it's not beneficial if you do it right. So yeah, window cleaning is sort of that pinnacle, and that's where I will leave things today. I know I've already probably talked for like 25 minutes, so if you've stuck around this long, thank you for listening. And again, I would love to connect with all of you guys, and I'm excited to see this franchise system grow. And I hope this was beneficial to you. And again, I say this in a very humble way. I feel like I've been very blessed with the success that that I've seen in my franchise. And I hope that this is an encouragement to you guys, whether you're new or you've been doing it for years. It's just a privilege and an honor for me to be part of it. So thanks again to all you guys. I hope we can touch base on Facebook or whatever, but thanks a lot.